So I am Taurud. I'm from Latvia, and we're in Manchester. I'm a singer, songwriter, all around creative, I suppose.
How long have you been making music for?
So music came when I was around, I think, 15. All kinds of noises here. We're gonna have to just roll with it. Well, yeah, so music came when I was around 15 through theater. I was initially sort of into visual arts. That's what my dad wanted me to do, was sort of draw and paint, and wanted to make jewelry, maybe carpentry, things of that nature. But I was good with graphics, was good with pencil, and was good in drawing. That's something that my dad taught me since I was like very, very young, like 3, 4, 5 years old. And sort of that just set up my creative brain, I suppose. And then there was a time I had to just change schools. So I went away from the art school where I did like all the primary, secondary years. And so I was in this local small town school because I had to move away from my dad to my mom's basically. And so there was no really arts or anything there. There was theater, there was like a drama class after school. So I started going to that one and fell in love with being on stage, then joined like a smaller town theater. It's like an amateur theater. And then sort of had to sing in one of the plays and like, not just one, but like, it was like just kind of every now and then actors would sing some shit. And then, yeah, it kind of came from that. People started encouraging me to sing more and more, and then I made my first band. I had no idea what music was, how to make it, how to write it. I could just about sort of sing in, hold the melody. I had no idea how to sing either, but people were telling me that I was really good, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be in a band. I'm gonna get all the girls, man. That's why everyone gets into music in the end of the day, isn't it? So yeah, that was that. And that was when I was 15.
Nice. So did you self-teach yourself music?
Yeah. I've done some lessons since then, and some sort of audio schools at home. But I've never had a lesson with like a singing, or like a vocal coach, and I've self-taught to play guitar and write songs. I've learned some like basic stuff. Like I've had a couple of guitar lessons, I think maybe 5, but yeah.
That's cool. Is guitar your main instrument?
I only really play guitar, and I'm not very good at it, but like I write songs on it. Like I'm not a guitarist, I'm a songwriter, so I can't play like crazy solos and that, but I can write some interesting chord progressions, and that's sort of what it's all about for me, just finding the mood on the guitar. I want to like learn a little bit of piano because I think I could sketch some really nice moods with the piano or organ as well. Can play a little bit of percussion, I can get away around like fucking about with some synths, because you don't really need to be a keyboard player. You just sort of you play like a root note, a third and a fifth, and then you can just like fuck about with like a cutoff or something, and make some crazy noises. So yeah, I can do a bit of that.
That's cool. Was it your music that brought you to Manchester?
Yes, yeah. I came to do a college, which I did, and that was 2009. And the idea initially was to just come do that and then fuck off. But somehow I just stayed here, and it all kind of was about this, I'm gonna get signed and I'm gonna be the first Latvian to ever do that. It never happened, but it's good though. Like it's been 13 years or so now, or 12 years I'm here. And it's been like just a huge learning curve in terms of music, musicians, industry, everything. It's a really good place for that.
Because I seen that did you get on the news with your music?
Yeah, but not here. So my music gets some exposure back home in Latvia because I'm from there. It's a small country. You know, there are less people in my country than in Manchester. It's like 1.7 million people right there, right now, probably maybe 1.8. And we have our own language, and it's important that there is, you know, something creative from sort of the own people have something interesting to show. So they need what I do over there a lot more than anybody will ever need it here. You know, there's so many so talented people, and the competition is massive. You know, so but whereas when I bring it over there, then people are actually interested to give these opportunities like TV, radio, whatever the case may be.
What do you think is your biggest challenge then in regards to your music?
No challenges really. I think the biggest challenge is to write a good song. That's where the challenge really ends. Nothing else really is a challenge because I don't really give a damn about anything else. You know, it's not like I don't take it seriously, but in the same time, like, I don't take anything seriously. I don't take life too seriously because of sort of what I know what the life really is and what sort of is important, you know. Important things are to be a good person, look after the environment, the planet, and just be a loving human being and share that energy. That's important. Everything else is an echo to that, or a tool that you can do that, and that's what the music is for me. I can shine some light into a dark room, you know, bring some love, kindness, understanding, create like a safe space for people where they can sort of go, listen, when they're listening, they enter that space, you know, and then that's something that I can create, and in order for everybody to feel better. And that's important, you know, so you have to write a good song and express yourself honestly. But there are no challenges really, you know, in terms of like careers, like, oh, like I want to play this gig, or I want to sell that many records, or I want to make that much money. Like, I don't care about any of that. And also because I understand where we're at right now in the human history and what the next 5, 6, 7 years are going to look like on Earth, it's just not time for thinking about that right now. And I have bad news for anybody who thinks that I'm talking rubbish, because the next 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years, the world's going to turn completely upside down, and a lot of things that we know or we used to know as our life is just all going to be swept completely away. You know, that's a challenge, you know. It's a challenging situation for us as humans. But that's not like in terms of me as an artist, you know. That's peanuts, you know. But the world is going through like a massive transition where essentially all the things that don't serve us anymore are going to be taken away. But before that can happen, everything's gonna go really bonkers and it's gonna be a bit shit. So, you know, we need to sort of strap ourselves in and be ready for it. And a lot of people are not, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, with music, like, and the things that I write about and sort of try to put in my music is to maybe trigger a bit of a paradigm shift about how people look at life and existence and reality and what is real, what isn't, and how it all works. Maybe I could embed some little codes in there. And also, then, like right now, I get an opportunity to say things that I believe in, that are important to me, and you know, hopefully then, I mean, we will get through it. It will be all good, but I can't like sugarcoat it. Like, it's gonna be a bit shit for some time.
That was gonna be my next question. It was gonna be like, what kind of themes do you write in your music? But you kind of just answered that, unless you want to touch on it a bit more.
No, I can, yeah. Because the writing for me, like, there's no really a theme. Like, I'm an antenna. Like, I don't really write anything. Things just write itself. Like, I guess sort of, I'm like a mirror that energy and things and images sort of reflect onto, and I reflect it back. That's my job, really. And a lot of things that, like the songs that I write, it's not often something that I necessarily think. Of course, there is an individual sort of, I put it through my own lens, and there's some kind of emotions and feelings attached to it that are unique to me. But everything else isn't really mine, it's not me. Like, I am a sort of eternal being of energy, you know. And the information that comes through me, like even this body or this mind, it's mine, but it's not me, you know. I think that's an important distinction. And so the songs that come through, they're kind of end up being mine, but, you know, like the universe writes them, like, and so there's a lot of collective energy often that floats through, you know. There are things that, I suppose what ends up happening is that what needs to be said is going to be said. And you know what's also interesting, that I realize that there, in certain periods in time, certain groups of musicians write the same song. We write the same song about the same subject, just word a little bit differently. So we are antennas. We write about the same thing, about what's happening around us and the things that need to be said to sort of guide people or maybe alter their view a little bit. And that's the role that we're playing. And it's happened often when I write a song and it's like, okay, well, this artist's written the same song about the same thing, just he's wording it differently, and it's a different melody, a different beat, you know, but we are on the same vibrational frequency, on the same bandwidth, and we feel the same things. So that's quite interesting. Of course, it sometimes happens also that you know, I had a song called I Keep Loving You that's sort of dedicated to a specific person, but even that is, I would have not put it out unless I thought that it is a representation of unconditional love, and that message needs to be brought, you know, out there within people like every day. So it's important to do that.
What is the theme of your latest song? What one that you'll be singing later?
Yeah, well, night sky. So night sky is a metaphor for our being, the human being, meaning that what is night sky? Night sky is sort of this bit of the space in between us and something, essentially, right? But the funny thing is that whilst it's night on Earth, it's day on the moon. So what's the night sky? It's an illusion. It doesn't exist. It's an oblivious idea, you know, some kind of concept that we've given to something that only we can do. But it's bullshit. And the way we look at ourselves as a physical being in a physical world that is sort of this conscious piece of meat with a brain, and there is just neurons shooting in our brain, and that's all we are, and that everything that we pick up during the life, that is who are we. And that is just not true. That's an illusion which is deliberately being created to make humans believe that they are this powerless thing and that that's all they are, and people identify with themselves as that. And the song is sort of trying to, well, through the metaphor of night sky, just sort of inspire looking at things a little bit differently, that we are always transcending, transmuting, energetic being, and you can understand who you are when you sort of throw away all the concepts of the physical body, of the mind and how it's constructed, in a complete silence, you know, or darkness. That's when you kind of start discovering who you really are. And what you are is you're a single point in time and space. And this body is something that resides within you, that we create for ourselves and design ourselves. But then we live in this kind of world of images, and the images create a false identification of who we are. So that's really the bigger picture and the grand topic that the song is about, and has the Latvian version as well, which is kind of about the same subject, you know. I'm not literally saying what I've just said in the song. That would just be too easy, and maybe it wouldn't sound that great. But that energy is embedded in the song. And I think that when people listen to it, they do end up, well, if they pay attention to what they listen to, you know. If they take a moment for 5 minutes just to sit with that song, I'm sure they will be sort of brought into like a parallel timeline, if you like, and a little bit different space. And something can start awakening within them as a result of that. I genuinely believe that, you know. Songs can be just like little triggers, or like they're just like little milestones, or the dots in a space and time that just triggers the view again, and that's it.
That's awesome. Do you sing in Latvian as well sometimes, or do you mainly sing in English?
Mainly, I sing mainly in English, but I wanted to make a Latvian version for my latest release, because I thought it was important to connect to Latvian people on a deeper level. Because art and music and, you know, these things connect to people way better in the language that they grew up with. And maybe for me, I can pick up the messages now quite okay in English as well. After living here for 13 years, I think in English. But for people in Latvia, a lot of times it just sort of floats by, you know, it doesn't hit home. So I wanted to definitely make the song in Latvian, and I think I'm going to try and do that in the future more and more and more, because it's important. If I know that language, then why not? You know, why not try and reach people and touch them deeper?